I'm standing here on this street. What street are we on?
Maresfield Gardens.
Maresfield Gardens.
Maresfield.
Oh, sorry.
Like nightmare.
Maresfield. With my friend Annie McGrath. You grew up on the street?
Yeah, we're standing outside the flat that I lived in from the age of 2 till 9.5.
That's so weird.
And I'm feeling very weird and nostalgic, and I FaceTimed my mum before we met up and showed her where I was. And
Mary.
She was Mary
McGrath.
Maresfield Gardens. Mary, my mum, shout out. And she said that she put that gate in that's still there, and she put those bars across the window.
No way.
Making it sound like we lived in prison.
We're here really officially because we're going to go to a museum.
Yeah, the Freud Museum.
We're going to catch up in a museum.
Yeah, which is a stone's throw from my childhood.
But you
home.
never went?
I never went, no.
Maybe it's not good for 2-year-olds, though.
Yeah, my mum said it's much to my shame that I never took you, but I kind of think it would be quite a weird museum to take a 2-year-old or a 7-year-old.
Well, we'll see. It might have
to.
like an interactive, like the Oedipus slide or something.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Hello, I'm comedian Mae Martin.
I'm comedian Annie McGrath, and this is
Meet Me at the Museum. All right, should we walk along?
Yeah, I quite want to go into the old flat and have a look around, but I think that's maybe...
I was just in Toronto visiting my parents, and I went to a flat that I lived in my teens.
Did you go inside?
I went at night, and I stood in the garden like a creepy...
Yeah, I think that's
creep.
illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
And I looked into the window, and I saw someone sleeping in my old bedroom, and I was like,
get out.
Get out. Then I was like, I'm just standing watching someone sleep.
Yeah, mate.
My heart
that
was
is
racing.
Terrifying.
I know.
Right, we're outside the museum.
Oh, here we are. So he lived in this house? We're looking at the facade? Oh, they got the blue plaques. Love a blue plaque.
Sigmund. I'm glad to see that Anna has a plaque as well.
Yeah, Sigmund and Anna Freud.
His daughter?
His daughter.
I don't know much about her, but hopefully that's all going to change.
I know, isn't that messed up? Because she was good too.
Yeah, but that's history, isn't it? We just
Am I right?
revere the men and not the women.
Do you think he actually saw patients in here?
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions for whoever works in this place because, wasn't he always on coke? And he had a coke problem.
I think he tried to use it for medicinal purposes,
Oh my
and
God.
then obviously realised it didn't work.
Yeah,
in that way.
We're heading in. I feel quite nervous to go into his house.
I know.
I hope they have a gift shop and a coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Are you
Freud?
Are you Freud?
Hello, hi, welcome to the Freud Museum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, would you like to go and get your tickets in the shop, please?
Right, should we go get our tickets?
So there's this big. We're walking through like a atrium.
Yeah.
Oh, right in the atrium they have his coat
And his umbrella.
and his umbrella
And his shoes.
Actually, that really is quite evocative, seeing his actual coat. I've seen so many photos of him.
Yeah, it's also quite a kind of hipstery jacket. I can imagine,
Yeah.
someone in Shoreditch wearing that.
He looked quite small. He was maybe a small man.
But then look at his boots.
Big feet. Tiny little glasses. Little round, what do you call this? Pince-nez? I've never said pince-nez.
Pince-nez?
How do you...
I don't know what
you
you're
know what I'm
trying
saying?
to say.
You know those glasses that sit on your nose?
Oh, yeah, without the
Yeah.
handlebars. What are they called?
He
Legs.
got his wedding ring here. There's just like a cabinet of personal items, but it really brings the man to life. They have him, the menu of his wedding.
Yeah, very bad handwriting, hasn't he? Well, quite nice, italic-y writing, but incredibly difficult to read.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. It says that he wore this coat when he came from Vienna to London in 1938, right before the war.
I've also just noticed he's got a lock of his wife's hair.
Do you like that?
No, I think it's a bit creepy. What do you think?
I like that he loved her that much, but yeah, it's a bit creepy.
I just wouldn't want to carry someone else's hair.
Okay.
Would you carry a lock of my hair?
Yeah, I would.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But mostly as a talking point.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you could freak me out.
Yeah, and people would think I was quirky or something. But I can picture him wearing this coat on the boat with his weird mustache, smoking a pipe,
His little glasses.
gazing out at the water.
So we're looking at his guest book now. So he apparently made people sign in or sign out of his house every time they visited.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Salvador Dali.
The Salvador Dali.
The one and only.
That's
Oh my
so
God.
cool.
Imagine your doorbell rings and it's that guy.
Yeah.
Our producer just told us that Salvador Dali was like a massive fanboy of Sigmund Freud.
Yeah, and Freud just didn't care.
Didn't
He's
give a
like,
shit.
yeah.
He must have, so I guess Freud was famous in his lifetime. Like what he said went in his life.
It's weird to think of Dali like really sucking up to Freud.
Yeah.
And Freud just not being interested at all. Right, do we need to get our tickets?
Yeah, we still haven't got our tickets. What we're doing is illegal. We don't have tickets.
Oh, God. Okay, let's get our tickets. Oh, hello, Freud.
Hello, Freud.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going? We'd like to buy tickets, please. And we have a National Art Pass.
Great, that's half off the adult price.
Whoa.
Great.
50%. That's awesome.
We can
Thank
spend
you.
the rest in the gift shop.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to buy a lot of stuff.
Is that 2 tickets?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Adults. You might not be able to tell that we're adults because Annie is tiny and I look
I'm
like a small
29.
boy. I'm 32.
Do you need to see ID?
I believe you. I trust you.
Thank you.
That's £4.50 each, so £9 in total.
Great. Should we go in?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't
here
wait
we
to
go.
see. Do you think we'll see his bedroom?
I'm excited just to have a recording of our voices because I'm really into your voice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You always do an impression of my voice that is...
I'm Annie McGrath.
Yeah,
Hello.
that
Hi,
feels-
Mae. I always remember that you were the first friend that I made in England who rang me just to chat.
Oh.
There was one day that you rang me and just like, hello, Mae. How are you? And I was like, what's happening?
Like, who is this
Nobody
old
rings-
British man?
Yeah. But people don't ring each other to chat. Like, that's such a nice
No.
thing to do. So I liked that.
I think I do that less and less.
I never do that now.
I thought we were going to get our nails done, but actually you've taken me to the Freud Museum.
I
so
know. That was my fiendish plan.
Yeah. I'm excited because obviously I live down the road. This feels quite an uncanny choice of place to take me.
Yeah, that is a weird coincidence. And it's very nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
You know that I was engaged at one time?
I think I met you in Edinburgh 2012 when you were in the process of breaking up with your fiancé.
Yeah. She was an infant mental health specialist and like a child psychologist, I want to say.
Wow.
I should have paid attention more when she was talking.
Yeah, was
but
that part of the problem?
that was part of the problem. I couldn't get her job right. But she was obsessed with Anna Freud.
Okay.
And talked about her a lot. And
Really, you should have brought her here.
I should have brought... I mean, what do you know about Freud?
Top of my head, Oedipus complex. So all boys want to have sex with their mums.
Yeah.
And then all girls want to have sex with their dads.
Yeah.
Electra complex.
Yeah, Electra complex. I like... Because he gets criticized, Freud, now. Like, looking back, people are like, he was sexist or he was very, like, male-focused in his views.
Because he had the penis envy theory that all girls are jealous of their dads' penises.
Yeah.
Peni.
Which I kind of relate to.
Yeah. Are you jealous of your dad's?
I wouldn't
Penis.
mind having one for a bit of time, yeah.
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 I guess it would be interesting.
Yeah.
When I was little, I always used to want to wee like a boy.
Yeah,
And I was
same.
really jealous
Same.
that girls couldn't wee standing up.
Later on, we're going to speak to experts.
Yeah, why are we asking each other
why
these
are we
questions?
asking? We know nothing.
We know nothing.
We're going to talk to a Freud expert and then also an Anna Freud expert.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and I'm into Anna Freud. It's weird that this house is like, they've quite recently lived here.
Yeah, she died in the early 1980s, I think.
Yeah, and he was here in 1939 or something.
Yeah.
But that's crazy.
So we know quite a lot about Freud, the man.
Yeah.
But Anna Freud, I feel guilty. I know barely anything about her, and she lived in this house for something like 40 years.
Yeah.
And he was only here for 1 year.
Yeah, I know. I want to find out more about her today because I think she was a total ledge, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think she was maybe the first person to talk about attachment theory and that kind of thing.
Right.
And her focus was on children, and I love all that because I like to blame my parents for everything.
Yeah, it's useful to have someone else to blame.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Should we explore the house?
Yeah, let's explore the house. Should we say our catchphrase first?
Analyze that.
So I can feel behind me his studies there.
Yeah.
But we're going to save that for later, right?
I really want to go in.
I know. I'm nervous about being in there.
I'm scared.
What if we unleash our subconscious and we don't like what we find?
Part of me is expecting them to be here.
Yeah, same. Well, it feels like a living house.
Yeah.
It totally feels like they just left the room. Like we're going to find his old pipe and a line of coke.
Should we go to Anna's room first?
Yeah, let's go to Anna's.
Let's go upstairs.
Hello, Anna.
I can see her bed.
Oh my God. Okay, we're in her room.
It's quite small, isn't it?
I don't think that's her bed, Annie. I think that's her
What does it
couch
say?
where she would see patients.
Oh, we apologise for the appearance of Anna Freud's couch. It's undergoing conservation work.
Oh, I see.
That's why it's covered in a kind of grey blanket.
Oh my God, look at this. Okay, it says, to hear short recordings of Anna Freud talking about psychoanalysis, lift handset on the telephone and dial an even number for trends in psychoanalytic work and an odd number for factors that determine normality or pathology.
Oh my
What do you want to
gosh.
hear? It's like an old rotary phone.
Even number, trends in psychoanalytic work.
Okay, should I do it?
Yeah, do it. Imagine she says, hi, Mae.
Individual's personality maturing at approximately the same rate of speed, none of them being either delayed or precocious compared with any of them.
That was so cool.
Yeah. Do you think she used to prank call people on that phone?
Yeah, definitely.
Her dad.
Yeah, prank call her dad. Hello, this is the super ego.
Anna?
Oh, Anna? The door just opened. We thought it was Anna. I do feel like I'm snooping around her.
So do I, yeah. Feels a bit intrusive.
Yeah, voyeuristic.
But then you
Almost.
did say that you stood in someone's garden.
Oh yeah, and
Watching them sleep.
I can't believe I admitted to that just then. It was really weird. I was on my own. It was about 1 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Can I retell the story?
It did sound weird.
My heart was pounding, and I
But
felt
did you find it quite thrilling?
so thrilling and exhilarating? And I guess I was trying to make sense of that time in my life where I was living in this basement apartment with some older guy, and I was like 16, and so I was just I was like, what was that about? And then I went and stood there and was like picturing myself. It was weird. How narcissistic.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to unpick in that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've got time.
No, we don't have time. Should I lie down on that sofa?
I mean, are we allowed?
In Anna's room?
Probably not.
Maybe, do you think
The
if we
producer's
ask
shaking her head.
really nicely that they'll let us go on Freud's?
Couch.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's ask. Like,
You could do
beg.
with some time on that.
I could.
couch.
I really could. So, Annie, we're going to find out a bit more about Anna from one of the curators of the museum.
That's so cool.
Here she comes now.
Hi, I'm Bryony Davies. I'm the assistant curator here at the museum.
Hi,
Cool.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We've probably been saying all kinds of factually incorrect and terrible things. How long have you worked here?
I've been here almost 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, about 9.5 years. So I'm quite familiar with the collection and the archive. Then through being here for so long, I've learned a lot about Freud, about the family, Freudian theories, everything like that. So it's been a learning journey as well.
Oh, that's amazing. We were saying we feel guilty that we don't know much about Anna. But I've been talking a lot about my ex-fiance.
Oh, okay.
She was really into Anna Freud. And she, I think, went to the Anna Freud Centre here.
Yes,
in
yeah.
London.
That has actually just moved to King's Cross now, but it used to be just 2 buildings along the same street.
Okay.
So when Anna Freud first moved here in 1938, almost straight away she left a nursery that she'd set up in Vienna, and then obviously because they had to flee Vienna to come to London, she set up the Hampstead War Nurseries on this street as well. So that dealt with a lot of the children that were displaced from the Blitz and needed care and needed support because they weren't in normal family units. They were kind of obviously not able to stay in their homes. And there was another one out in Essex as well.
Were people resistant to the idea that children had a subconscious life and could be psychoanalyzed? Like, was that pretty shocking at the time?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. She wasn't the first person to ever work with children in a psychoanalytic context.
Yeah.
There had been some people before, but she was the first person to really kind of systematize it and work with children in a way that was totally different from psychoanalysis as an adult, who, you know, someone as an adult might decide to go into therapy and do all that. Yeah. Children is obviously, it's different. So she wouldn't have them laying on the couch like we think of that kind of view of psychoanalysis, it would be much more experiential, which is
play therapy.
Yeah, exactly. And we kind of take that for granted now, that that's how you work with children in a therapeutic setting. But she was the first person to really do that, to sit down on the carpet with them, or to have crayons and pencils and things like that, and not do it in an adult way that just happened to be a child.
Right.
And were there many women before her who had done that, or was it quite kind of revolutionary in a way that she was a woman doing that kind of job?
It's funny because Freud himself didn't particularly focus on educating his daughters, like encourage them to university or anything like that. But he was very welcoming to women in psychoanalysis. So a lot of the early psychoanalysts were women who were real pioneers of the field. And I'm sure they probably experienced some sexism back in the early 20th century. Yeah. But in the field of psychoanalysis, they were very much encouraged to go out and experience things and write and publish and give lectures. Yeah.
Was she gay?
This is an interesting question.
Yeah.
She had a long-term friend who she lived with. You've probably seen around the house, Dorothy Burlingham mentioned.
Yeah, you thought that was her girlfriend.
Yeah. So they lived together here in the house. They had holiday homes together. They also wrote work together because Dorothy also was a trained analyst.
Sounds like a GF.
Well, this is the thing. There's no evidence. There's no love letters. There's nothing like that. It did seem to be, who knows, but it did seem to be a platonic friendship, that they were incredibly close. We've got lots and lots of their archives, and we haven't found any proof. And actually, because Anna wrote very forthright letters to people, and things weren't kept under wraps. There was lots of rumours actually in the psychoanalytic community that they were lesbians, and Anna didn't really like that, because she said, like, we're very good friends, like we're a family together. She's like a sister to me, and so she was quite annoyed by the gossip.
I don't know how much stock you can put in the denial of the lesbianism because of the time period.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And also,
would people take her seriously if they'd known that she was gay,
or maybe that she didn't even admit it to herself, and she was in this sort of really codependent and intense friendship, but not interested in men, but wouldn't, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just making my own theories.
Yeah, it's really difficult. It's difficult to know, and it's really interesting to think about. And they certainly were incredibly close, and they certainly were, lifelong.
Yeah,
friends and partners.
And is there any evidence of Dorothy marrying or having relationships?
Dorothy, before she met Anna Freud, so Dorothy Burlingham was American. She was actually part of the Tiffany's of New York kind of family. She got married and she had children, and then she came to Vienna with her children, her husband also, for analysis. So she met Anna through the analysis with Freud, and then her husband eventually killed himself, and in 1938. And Anna Freud did kind of, in a way, become like the step parent to her children as they grew up, because they were still quite small then.
God, it's quite a modern setup in a way, isn't it?
It really is.
Do you feel like you know her quite well, having spent all this time in her space and reading her letters? And
yeah, I think so. And I think that's the nice thing about being in quite a small historic house museum. We've got a lot of personal items from Freud and his family, and we've got things like obviously letters and everything. We've got things like photo albums and recipe books that Martha, Sigmund's wife, has written, and you do kind of feel like you get to know the personalities as well as just the big, famous name, Sigmund Freud.
Not to be new agey, but there's a good energy, and I thought maybe there wouldn't be, because I thought it would be like all pokey and dark and kind of ominous or weird, or that maybe it was an unhappy family, or he was a bad father. I don't know, but it actually seems quite positive and loving. And
and particularly Anna Freud and Sigmund Freud were very, very close. Obviously, she was the only child of his to follow him into the world of psychoanalysis. But even from when she was very young, she was very close to her father, and he would make a lot of time obviously he was working a lot, but in kind of holidays and vacations they would spend time together. And it was a very close family.
It must be weird though if your dad's writing theories about the Electra complex and stuff.
They must have spoken about it.
I think they
So
probably did.
awkward.
It's something that would never happen now with analysts, but in the early days of psychoanalysis, Freud did actually analyse his daughter.
What would you say your favourite spot is in the museum?
Favourite spot is difficult, but I could definitely show you my favourite object down in Sigmund Freud's study, and we can go there now.
Great.
Okay, so we're just about to go into Freud's study.
I feel starstruck.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Still expecting him to be in there.
Because he actually saw people in here, didn't he? Clients. Man. Okay, we're walking through the door. Wow.
I love the kind of dusty bookshelves. That's exactly what I wanted to see.
Yeah, dusty bookshelves.
Look at his couch.
Oh my God, there it is.
Wait, 2 couches. Which is the one he died on? Which is the one? I reckon he died on that one.
No, he died on that.
Oh,
So that's the psychoanalytic couch.
It's quite kind of cosy looking for a psychoanalytic couch.
It is cosy, piled with very nice cushions and covered with a lovely rich carpet.
Yeah.
But the other couch we just have here for the next couple of months because we're commemorating the 80th anniversary of his death. So this is where he had this so-called invalid couch in the study where he died.
Wow, so he didn't want to be in a bed? He was into just being in his study on a couch?
Yeah, he found it difficult to take the stairs later in life, and also he wanted to be surrounded by his books and antiquities.
Yeah, his antiquities. So he has, I read, over 2,000 objects and antiques and Egyptian and Greek things.
Yeah.
And cool.
So you said one of your favourite objects is in here.
Yes.
Did we get to see that?
Yes, I did, and it's over here. So this object here, I don't know if you can see it close up.
It looks mad.
So it's a Balinese wood carving, and it's really different to almost everything else in the collection because we've got so much ancient Egyptian and Roman and Greek antiquities. And this is from the 1930s from Bali, and it is basically, it's a kind of an impressionistic wood carving of a woman meditating, kneeling down, and above her there's this kind of disembodied head, pulling a really strange face and
two heads. No,
there's a head, and then there's her, and then there's some legs, and at the bottom there's snakes and scorpions, and it's just so strange.
Yeah,
And it does look almost like a Dali painting.
Yeah, but we have no idea how Freud got this. How it made its way to this little office in North London.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. Annie, do you remember in my bedroom I used to have shelves with lots of little objects, and I called them my pieces?
Yeah.
And they're objects that I thought were quite powerful, like crystals or like stuff that my grandfather had, or little brass animals and things. And they had a mystical power. And then I actually had to put them away because I was like, I moved flat and I was like, they're too powerful.
What were they doing?
I was just like stuck in the past. You know what I mean? So I put them away. But
that's making you want to bring them back.
Yeah, like this, I'm looking at like these shelves that Freud had with all these little, magic objects.
So I'll leave you to have a look around Freud's study, and my colleague Ivan will be back down in a couple of minutes to talk to you about Freud.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. That was great.
Thank you. I was too nervous to ask her if I could lie on the couch.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we can ask Ivan.
Let's ask Ivan.
I feel like because it's behind one of these security barriers,
we're not going to be allowed.
Yeah, but then tell them that you've got a Channel 4 show coming out.
Netflix, baby.
Sorry, Netflix. Say Netflix, baby.
But I'm going to say that I'll take off my shoes and everything. Like, I don't...
Will that help?
Yeah, that help? I just really want to sit on that couch. It's crazy how in his lifetime, everything he said, people were like, yep, I guess that's the thing.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else who's come up with theories that have
stuck so
outshone his.
Yeah, the id, the superego, the ego.
The ego.
I'm into him because he was pretty into bisexuality, but he was aware that it was incompatible with some of his previous theories, and you know what I mean? Because he talked a lot about male attraction to women and vice versa, in like a very heteronormative way. But he was really interested in bisexuality, and right before he died, he was going to write a massive paper on it and on like the ubiquitousness of bisexuality and how we all have because we're hermaphroditic in the womb. He said that we all have the remnants of both sexes.
Wow,
and
that's so interesting. God, I wonder what he would have said on it.
Well, that I just said.
The thing you just
that we all have latent. I'm Freud. But
so he did start writing it.
Yeah, he talked about it a fair bit, and he was gonna write about it, and I wish that he had, because if that had become like the commonly accepted theory, the way all his other theories did, then we might see it in a totally different way, or it would have really massively contributed to like the conversation around it at that time.
Definitely. I feel like I've never heard, like, when you think about Freud, you don't think anything about bisexuality.
This is my favorite quote of his. He said, "I do not in the least underestimate bisexuality. I expect it to provide all future enlightenment." Wow. I've been saying that to you for years.
Yeah, you have actually.
My name's Ivan Ward. I'm the Deputy Director of the Museum and the Head of Learning.
Thank you so much for talking to us. We've been learning so much walking around, but yeah, what can you tell us about this room, first of all? So this is where Freud saw his clients for a year or so?
It's the consulting room, but also the study. So you've got the couch and the desk in the same room, which is not how he had it in Vienna.
Okay.
So it kind of gives a slightly different sense of how he worked. But, I mean, I'm sure you've realised it's very atmospheric.
Very,
it's
very
kind
atmospheric,
of, you know,
it's
really
kind of amazing,
intense room.
And we were talking earlier about bisexuality. Is there much known about his views on that, or?
It seemed to me, like, from what I've been reading, that he started out with quite a binary way of thinking in terms of heterosexuality of men and women, and then right before he died, he was going to write about bisexuality, and he became very interested in it.
Well, bisexuality was very important from the beginning. I mean, in fact, he had a very close relationship to a friend, Wilhelm Fliess. And Fliess was quite an eccentric ear, nose and throat doctor, and Freud had this long kind of relationship with him.
Like a romantic relationship?
Well, it was kind of not romantic, I don't think in a sort of physically sexual sense, but it certainly had a sort of homosexual tinge to it. It was Fliess who really emphasised the idea of bisexuality as a kind of constitutional thing. Everybody is male and female, basically. And then he accused Freud of stealing the idea, and so so there was a kind of bit of an argument about that. But this was in 1900. This was very early, and Freud felt that bisexuality was absolutely central to his way of thinking. Everybody is bisexual to begin with.
Yeah,
and then you go down one path or another path.
Right. Or you don't. You stay bisexual.
Or you don't.
I feel like he was much more progressive than his reputation seems.
Ivan, I know it's behind a barrier, but how much would I have to pay to just get to lie for 1 second on that sofa? Or do you think it's totally
It's
off
beyond
price,
I'm afraid. No, the problem is that the couch is in quite a delicate state now. So we really don't let people lie on.
Yeah,
is that a definite no then?
It's
to
a
the
definite
couch
no, I'm
question?
afraid.
Fair enough.
But although it's not my, you'd have, Brian, you might be able to say no instead of me if that's.
Maybe I'll ask her too.
You could ask her.
It would be really bad if my legacy was that I broke.
Exactly.
The sofa.
Absolutely.
Maybe then another
famous
plaque
sofa
would come up.
Yeah.
I mean, people, it is quite alluring. I've been here 32 years and I've never lied on the sofa.
Right, yeah, fair enough. Do you feel personally connected to Freud? Are you interested on a personal level?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of reading of
It's
Freud.
amazing how long his ideas have endured and how they're still considered kind of the foundations of psychoanalysis.
I mean, obviously psychoanalysis is still going as a therapy, and the ideas have kind of infiltrated into all kinds of different areas.
Yeah.
So from sort of medical practice, but also in the arts, especially in literature, in all kinds of areas of social life, of kind of child rearing, and so there's a kind of lot of a big influence of his ideas, I think.
Like he's sometimes criticised for being quite male-centric, but do you think that had he been alive now, his ideas would have evolved?
Yeah, his ideas were always evolving. I mean, they were changing. Obviously, the relationship that Freud has to feminism is a kind of interesting one historically. I mean, on the one hand, he's somebody who listened to women and took, what they were saying seriously. And then he created a profession where, if you see the old photographs of the kind of congresses that psychoanalysis had compared to any other profession at that time, there were much more women involved. And so he, encouraged women, and actually thought that maybe psychoanalysis is something that's more suited to women, in terms of the therapy, the idea of being sort of receptive, the kind of state you have to be in to actually be receptive to another person's kind of distress and also their unconscious communications. So it's a kind of obviously a big thing. And I suppose, a lot of feminists have thought that Freud's ideas are really a kind of way of thinking about patriarchy. How is it structured? How does it function? How does it endure over the years? What are the kind of things that have to be broken down in order to try and undermine that? And of course, it's more difficult than people think.
We've been wanting to ask you about, because I don't know where I read this or saw this, but that he was a massive cokehead.
I think I'd put it and say he was an enthusiast.
Right.
He was an enthusiast, but he was also a researcher. I mean, you've got to remember that Freud wrote The Interpretation of Dreams, which was the first book of psychoanalysis, and he wrote that when he was 44. That was when it was published. So he'd had a career beforehand.
And he took drugs as part of the kind of research
one of the monographs he wrote was about the properties of cocaine. So cocaine was obviously, cocaine was
prescribed it back then, right?
Cocaine obviously wasn't illegal then. It was being, but it was being investigated by researchers as a kind of wonder drug. And of course cocaine was an ingredient in Coca-Cola. That's
it makes you feel so good.
It's a pick-me-up. No, exactly. It's a pick-me-up.
Yeah.
And Freud at one point was dropping liquid cocaine into his eye.
Oh my God.
Freud.
Yeah. Well, except that where the person who became famous in relation to cocaine was a man who ironically was called Cola, who discovered that cocaine could be used as an anaesthetic for eye operations.
Because of the numbness.
Exactly, because you can because if you're doing an operation on the eye, you've got to stop it moving.
Right.
Which is very hard to do. Your eyes move all the time.
So did it have any detrimental effects? Oh, it must have.
Because later on he discovered that it itself was addictive and so on.
Yeah.
And it had,
And didn't he die of mouth cancer?
That's smoking,
but that
isn't it?
has to do with Freud's main addiction, which of course was smoking.
Right.
That's the serious
Yeah, because he
thing.
loved the cigars, didn't he?
Yeah.
He particularly wanted to deny himself his pleasures.
Yeah,
I mean, he had doctors and friends kind of trying to get him to give up smoking.
Right, okay.
And even went after he had, he had 30 operations.
Really?
On his jaw, 16 years.
Oh my God.
Horrible prosthesis he had to wear that caused all these ulcers and, pain the whole time. And then he'd try and hold his mouth open with a peg to put a cigar in.
Really?
It's like, he obviously was addicted to tobacco. The things he said about his addiction were more or less what anyone says. My dad smoked, it never caused him any harm. That
really?
sort of thing. It's the only thing that calms me down.
Analyse that.
I can only, I can't work unless I've got, it's all these sorts of things. So he's kind of, just allowing his pleasures. And I mean, he called the doctors, when they tried to stop him, he said, he called it bourgeois moderation.
Right.
Stopping smoking,
But that's the definition of addiction. It's doing something compulsively despite it doing you harm.
Despite the fact that you know what it is. Absolutely.
So interesting, thank you. Where would you suggest that we go now in the museum?
Well, we do have a couple of videos that we show, including a film from the 1930s, so some sort of home movies.
Oh, great.
Should we go upstairs?
Yeah, let's do that. Thanks, Ivan.
What you are going to see are home movies meant for family use and not for public viewing. Therefore, you will have to excuse all the deficiencies which are quite inseparable from ventures of this kind.
We've just gone into the film room. I'm trying to be quiet because there's people in here.
Yeah. So we've got some kind of, is this home footage playing?
Oh yeah, there's a little thing here. Okay, it says this collection of films features interviews and commentary by Anna Freud. Also interviewed is Edmund Engelmann, the photographer who recorded Freud's home and offices. Freud looks healthy. I don't see evidence of these 30 operations on his mouth.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't as ill when this was being filmed.
He looks good.
You fancy him?
I kind of fancy him, yeah.
Yeah, he was probably quite charismatic.
I bet he was super charming, yeah. Yeah, so these were filmed, it says, in 1938.
So that's actually quite close to when he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, just before they fled Austria to come to London.
My family only has one home video of me, and it's me eating a bag of like Cheetos or Cheesy Puffs.
Oh, yeah.
And someone tries to take them away from me, and I burst into tears. That's like the only video. What about
Something
you?
to do with attachment.
Yeah.
I can't actually remember. I don't know if we even have any videos anymore. Maybe my parents threw them away.
Yeah.
I'm sure we used to. I've definitely had like videos of me in school plays and stuff.
I want to see it.
Yeah, you can. If I find them.
Were you in a lot of school plays?
Yeah, I was in a school play called Ocean World where I played a bit of rubbish.
Was that an original piece?
I think it
by
was.
One of the
yeah.
teachers.
There was a big group of most people were the octopus, and the elite got to be a bit of rubbish. So I knew that I'd made it.
Yeah.
May,
Yeah.
should we go and visit another museum together?
Yeah. What, today? No, we're getting our nails done today.
We're getting our nails done another day.
I'd like to go to the Mary Rose in Portsmouth.
Oh yeah, that is a very good museum. I've been there before.
Yeah, we
And,
could do that. Well, we should just see each other more.
Yeah,
Full
we could just
stop.
hang out
Yeah.
off mic.
Yeah. So, quick summation of our time here. Did you have a nice time?
Yeah, I've loved it, and to think that it was down the road from me when I was little, and I've never been in. I'm glad that I finally can tick it off. It's been really interesting and just such a nice house to visit. I've learnt a lot about Anna, who regrettably I knew nothing about before. And it sounds like she had a fascinating life and was very kind of progressive for her time.
A real pioneer.
Yeah.
A real hero.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. I had a wonderful time. I thought Bryony and Ivan were amazing.
Yeah, they were
So
really
knowledgeable.
helpful and interesting, definitely. So cool to actually go into Sigmund Freud's office
That
and
was
see
the real
the chair,
highlight.
the sofa.
I know they wouldn't let me lie on it, but it was wicked to be near it. Thanks for listening to Meet Me at the Museum with me, Mae Martin.
And me, Annie McGrath, at the Freud Museum in London.
If you liked this episode of the podcast, please rate, subscribe, or tell a friend.
And if you have a National Art Pass, you'll get free entry or discounts to museums all around the UK.